If you're watching this now, the live stream's already over. Appreciate you watching though. For everybody else, how's it going? Oh, and off we go. It's time to fix a knife that's been sitting in the house for a while now. Finally got the tool to fix it. We're fixing an Ultratech. Now, according to me, I don't think that this is going to be super hard to do. However, I've never done this before, so we'll find out. Please, 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 please fit. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Tiny spring is going in a spot where I won't lose it. Sophia, what's up? Go ahead and get all the other parts too. Yeah, I've never taken one of these things apart before. I still haven't. This one was sent to me in pieces. So, and I didn't look up how to put them together, so this is me guessing based off of a little bit of understanding how they work. Okay. So this is a Microtech UTB from, I would assume, Q2 of 2024 or something like that. Oh, 04 of 2022. Okay. So we're going to start with this piece. Yeah. Then the spring. Which I believe goes in this area. Yeah. And this should go there. Then I take the tiny spring that I put away so I wouldn't lose it. I put that right there. That's not good. There goes that tiny spring that I spent so much time making sure that I didn't lose it. Flashlight time. Well, give me a minute and I'll find that thing. How did I know something like that was going to happen? Yes, I'm live. Oh, that tiny spring is somewhere. Oh, I gotta find that here in a bit. How does this always happen? I'll find that here in a bit. I want to see if everything else fits. Cody, what's up? Are you shitting me? Can I drop any more pieces? I'm already missing the smallest piece. I see. Lucky you. Wish Scamazon would send me free gear. Oh, this is a precarious situation. I don't like this. I should get a trauma kit. With all the knife stuff that I do, it's smart to have some sort of first aid kit here by the table, but I don't yet, so shit, I barely have a box of band-aids here. Box of band-aids and super glue. Holy shit. And you wonder why I don't buy these things. God damn, that's tight. Well, it works now. It's still missing a piece. I dropped the spring that goes in the in this. So I need to find that tiny, tiny, tiny spring. It needs greased a little bit too. It's literally a spring that's about that big. It is tiny. No, you cannot borrow it. It's not mine. Well, we found the female version of Aiden's name, Adana. The worst part is I heard that spring drop, and I have no clue where it went. Oh, found it. And it's not even close to where I was looking originally. It's not mine. It's one of my subscribers. That spring is what I dropped. I'm actually getting paid to put it back together. I did get this, though. You need to pay on your Benchmades? What Benchmades? If you're talking about from me, I'm pretty sure you paid it off. Oh, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, pretty sure I have that written down as paid off, but if you want to give me more money, I'm not gonna say no. Let go, damn it. I can't tell you how nerve-wracking this is, taking this thing apart. I do not like springs. That's why I don't own a whole lot of automatics. Because there's a large spring in here. And that tiny spring goes in there. That's it. And of all the pieces that I dropped, it had to be the smallest one in the knife. We'll do it the same way that we do wheels. Okay, all done. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be honest. I still hate opening these things and closing them. So the owner of this one and the Manix 2 that I have up here in S110V is the profiler. It is a UTB. And they say you're supposed to lube these with Remington gun oil, so I don't have any of that. I'm just going to tell them to spray the inside of that thing with Remington gun oil, and we'll leave it at that. Because I think the stuff that I have is too viscous. And here's my knife. It's about time that I got these things done. It's not a bad knife, but the springs on these things are just way, way too strong. And I actually can't close this one with my right hand. And I can barely do it with my left. One of those reasons why I don't own a Microtech. Yes, I know they make other models, but I just don't want one, so this one could use sharpened. We'll give it a quick touch up. I will tell him that before he starts playing with it, it needs lubed. Because I don't know all the spots in there that need to have lubricant on them. If I did, I'd do it myself with some of the stuff that I have, but I don't know where they need it, other than everywhere. Okay. So I broke this one in. This one's a cheap knockoff of a Riot, but I couldn't find any of the Riot ones available anywhere, so and this one was $20 instead of $85 or $86 after shipping. So am I still happy with how I sharpened that one? Well, we'll do the arm test and see. Doesn't even shave. Well, I'm going to fix the edge that I put on that one because it doesn't shave. And that's just not right. And then the other one we'll do a touch up on 1000 grit and leave it at that, because that's probably all that it needs. So I think for all of this work that I've done on these, 40 would be a fair price. Horrible. I didn't even finish all of them. I told him from now on, I need to have the knives in hand before I do pricing. Oh, rude. I know what I'm doing, believe me. How did you get into first place so fast? This dude's kind of funny. I kind of want to keep him in here. I keep changing angles. How do I do that? Shit, if you ask me, I thought I was keeping a pretty consistent angle. Apparently, guys, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm ruining somebody else's knife because I don't know how to sharpen knives. Hmm. This is great. Just test. Damn. Okay. Time for stropping. Not only am I ruining this guy's knife, but he's paying me to do it too. Yeah, I don't know what I did to piss that guy off, but this is great. It's the most attention I've gotten in a while. Okay. No tearing. Good. Shaving? It better be. Weird. Oh. That's weird. You hold it at a weird angle. S110V. What do you think? 400 or 1,000? I previously sharpened this thing on the Chiefre cut, and it did not like that. It didn't end up as sharp as it usually does. Go ahead and move on over to the Ultratech real quick. I don't have anything from 800 or for 800 grit. Best I can do is 500 or 1,000. Not a whole lot. Had a couple trolls come in. It's the first time I've had that happen in a long time. S110. Of course I want attention. That was hilarious. I don't think I've ever had somebody come in here and say that I suck at sharpening. That was great. I think that's the most entertaining thing that's happened to me all day. No, it's a Microtech. Holy shit. I hate OTFs so much. I don't like the LUDT either. I think it's pretty fugly, to be honest. The only kind of OTF I want is a single action. Because I like how fast it fires. You don't understand how what sharpened a knife. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Yeah, these things are pretty pricey. More than I'd want to spend. And it's got a micro bevel that's huge. Notice how you said twice the value, not twice the cost. You'll have a lot more fun with a lever action. However, these things are freaking expensive. You can get a Henry for like 700. 750. I personally am not going to say that, oh yeah, of course I'm talking about a 22. I mean, I'm not going to go out to the range with something bigger than a 22 most of the time. To be honest, I don't think I have anything larger than a 22 to begin with. We do in the house, but I don't own them. It happens. Not everybody's going to be interested in the stuff I have. I've got a Model 60. I'm debating on selling it, but it's my first gun, and I kind of don't want to get rid of that. Especially since my dad has one too, so. His is blued, mine's stainless. God, that's so sad. The trolls left already. You know, I was kind of hoping that we could sit there and have some more fun. But unfortunately, seems like everybody's first gun was a Model 60. It's a great gun. I just wish that it had a side loading ramp instead of being only tube fed, where you have to load it down the tube. Holy shit. That thing is thin at the tip. Yeah, I'm going to be keeping it most likely. I want a 5.56 bolt action. And currently, the one I'm leaning towards is a Ruger American in 5.56. And my second rifle was a Savage Mark II FVSR. I did very little research when I got it. Got it for my birthday a while ago. And it's been a great gun other than some ejector issues with certain types of ammo. And they say you can send it in and they'll fix it, but I don't want to send a gun in to have a tiny thing fixed. Dude, it's a tack driver at 100 yards. Knock the primer out of a 12 gauge at 100 yards with thunderbolts. Not match competition crap. Just Remington Thunderbolt 22s. The cheap shit. High velocity. That's sad. See, I'd go for a 308, but we have. See, 5.56 is a readily available type of ammunition, and 5.56, 223, it's pretty cheap. If shit ever hit the fan, I would happily use a 5.56 over a lot of other stuff. I don't have the money for 308. We'll put it that way. Yeah, so my Savage Mark II doesn't like um, expensive ammo. It's a cheap, like the nicest way I can put it is it's a cheap, dirty whore because it won't take any of the nice stuff that I've bought for it. It doesn't like waxed 22s either. Now this one's not going to cut as well because... Oh, that wasn't bad. Okay. I was going to say, because I didn't want to sharpen up here. Taylor, what's up? How's it going? I can't believe I put that thing back together. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be harder than it was. Having a little bit of an understanding of how it works already, just by screwing around with it. Like when it came to me, it was in pieces. It was fully taken apart except for the pocket clip. So it's my first time putting one together. because I didn't start off by taking it apart. I started off putting it together. And believe it or not, I have put more knives together than I have taken apart. By 2. Oh, it would definitely have helped if I would have taken it apart myself. However, I wouldn't take one of those things apart myself. Now that I understand how it works, no problem. But before I understood how it works, never would have even thought about it. I would have just said, oh well, it doesn't work, I'll just spray some shit in there and make it work. I never would have thought about taking it apart. Fuck, that hurts. I hate those things. Chris Kitts, what's up? Welcome back. Well, anyway, I'm glad to see that it went back together just fine. About as much play as I would expect. This one is actually tighter than most other Microtechs I've handled. The spring is a lot stronger on this one than almost every other one that I've messed with. So I'm not going to say it's the baby hands. I'm going to say there's actually something going on with this one. Oh, I know they do. I just don't have rem oil. That's why I was going to tell the owner that they need to lube it, because I don't own any of the stuff that you're supposed to use. God, these things are so fun. Damn. Doing it under a camera is not fun. I like ARs, but I like bolt actions more. So if there was an AR option that ran as a bolt action that wasn't California compliant, because that stuff is stupid, I wouldn't mind having one. I mean, I'm sure that there are, but again, I already have another gun in mind. Well, how much money are we talking? This one isn't an EXO. It's not made by Riot, or else it would say it right here. This one's made by some other company, probably in the same factory, or sold by another company, probably in the same factory. That's all it takes to sharpen these things, by the way. I don't understand people throwing these things away. Like, save them. Bring them home. Do a couple passes on a stone. And stick it back in the knife. You could even strop it. Oh, that's interesting. So there's enough wiggle in here that while it's in there, it's actually damaging the blade on this side. Wonder if I can stick something in there that will tighten things just slightly. Maybe, got anything out of plastic? Preferably plastic, not paper. This one was 20 bucks. I bought the last one in black, and I don't think that they have them anymore. However, they have an interesting model. It's an OTF that takes number 60 scalpel blades. And those things, they're the larger scalpel blades. They're interesting. I'd actually recommend looking into that. It's like 25 bucks. So is this thick enough? This may be thick enough. No, they don't have a plain blade one. Actually, this one isn't even on their store anymore. I think I did buy the last one. God, without having the blade in there, it's not very fun. All right, so we're gonna try modifying something slightly. Yeah, that little bit of wiggle, I don't want that in there anymore. They're fun. They're definitely fun to play with, not to eat. Okay, so we'll cut right there. And we'll cut right there. Okay. Okay. I haven't been live streaming as often as I used to. I did get my back fixed though, for the most part, as far as I can tell. Too much. Oh, I did. Yeah. I went to the chiropractor, and dude I've known since I was a kid. Actually, the only wiggle I'm worried about is that blade moving around a little too much. You know, I wonder, can I just like put a little bit of super glue right there and let it dry? I'm gonna try that, because it'll create a little bit of extra that should be interesting. Okay. Launch 20 is a good knife. I like the Launch series. Yeah, Kershaw's definitely been doing well over the last few years. They seem to care more about quality than they used to. Actually worrying about making a decent knife nowadays. Because what it used to be is they were resting on the fact that they had the patent for, like, I think sole use of the patent for the speed safe, and that was like their big deal. Yeah, it looks like super glue ain't thick enough. Maybe super glue a piece of plastic. Buck's actually been, they seem to give a damn now too. The downside is their prices have gone up, but I can appreciate the fact that they're still making stuff here in Idaho. And yeah. No, Buck's factory edges, especially the budget ones, are shit. Like, really, really bad. Their American made budget line, like the Bantam, it's a decent knife. You're paying like 30 or 40 bucks for it, but it is one of the worst looking factory edges I think I've ever seen. Coming from me owning a shit ton of knives, that's saying a lot. That might do it. Well, the blade moves around a lot less now. I'm trying to think of a good buck knife that the quality isn't dog shit on, but I haven't handled most of their expensive stuff. And I won't mess with assisted opening stuff very often, honestly. I'm not super impressed by that. That won't work. My local knife shop has a few exclusive Chris Reeve Umnumzons available, but only for in-store purchase. No, I don't like battle songs. I wanted a gravity knife because they're fun. Well, I've got a Chris Reeve Small and Cozy up for sale if you're interested. My first name brand knife was a Victorinox Swiss Champ. I had that given to me by a family friend, and I still have that. I think my very first knife was a Columbia multi-tool. Got that for Christmas when I was 7. Wasn't allowed to use it unless we were out camping. It was great until it broke. I got a lot of shit sitting around. Like up here in this toolbox, got a few Benchmade, Spyderco, Civivi. What's in here? Depends on what you mean by tactical. Oh, got a Piranha. Got a Pina X Bronco. In S35VN. Trying to get rid of this one. Both of them, actually. I'll be honest, just about everything that I have on the table at the moment, yeah, it's made by Riat. It's also priced pretty high because there aren't a whole lot of them out there. The Bronco's sitting there at 300 right now. Give me just a sec, guys. I did something dumb. I pushed the zipper in too far. Now I gotta... Oh, there we go. Now, not all the Benchmades are for sale, but I do have a few of them. Go ahead and put... I'm going to put this one back in. God damn. Keeps locking itself. Yep, I've got an Adamas. Well, it's a mini Adamas, actually, but actually one of my favorite knives, too. Although I hate Benchmade because of their pricing structure. And yet I own a shit ton of them for some reason. And I got a brand new inbox. Well, I've got 3 bug outs for sale. Oh, this one? I used it to break down a few boxes earlier. Turned out fine. When you squeeze it, how you'd normally use it, there's no blade play. Not even side to side. I haven't seen a bailout in person short of in a store. I've never seen one at a pawn shop. I've never seen one. My buddy's never had one. And I probably wouldn't buy one because they're hard to sell. It's really hard to sell a Tonto. I would know. I've got a small and cozy Tonto that I'm trying to get rid of, but nobody wants it. Probably because I'm priced too high. But Fishy Fingers, what's up? Welcome back. It's a good knife. Oh yeah, it's MagnaCut. If it wasn't MagnaCut, I wouldn't have bought it for the price I did. Perfectly tuned by me. Fresh from a spa day. I dropped it off and then picked it back up. Yeah. Find a ninja. I've got it priced at $370, I think. I'm not making a whole lot on that one. Dude, you overpaid. And I say that because I feel bad. This one I think I put up for sale yesterday or the day before for like 120. And it's a full size. It's not even a mini. Let me double check that. It's on Facebook. It is priced at $110. Stan, what's up? There's some interesting stuff you can get at Bass Pro Shops, actually. But yeah, the only thing that's really wrong with this one is a couple scratches on the Cerakote. This one's got a lot more issues. And I kind of feel bad selling it because, like, the issues are really, really bad. I remember my first time going out on a Black Friday. Me and one of my buddies went on Black Friday to Bass Pro Shops, and the place was empty because his birthday was on Black Friday. And I'm like, well, let's go out and do something. And he's like, okay, well, where do you want to go? So we went there, went and looked around. There were like 2 people, short of employees, there were like 2 people in the whole store. Well, Palmer's still young. I think he's younger than I am, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Dude, you could have got a Wave Plus from me for like $50. Yeah, see, he's younger than I am. Damn, he's 5 years younger than I am. Shit, I knew he was young, but I didn't know he was that young. Yes, Bass Pro Shop's definitely overpriced. Dude's got more money than I do, too. It's probably going to stay that way. Damn, Cody, you're old. Oh, I'm not saying you got ripped off. I'm just saying that Benchmade itself is overpriced. It doesn't really matter where you buy it. They're just always overpriced. My birth year starts with a 2. Thank you very much. I just turned 24 yesterday. Thank you very much. Cody? I don't know about Cody. Dude's probably old, though. Shit, I gotta act like a proper employer and fire him because he's getting too old. Sorry, Cody, but we're gonna have to let you go as a moderator. You're we're just looking for younger talent, you know? And you're too expensive to keep on. Hell no, you don't get a gold-plated watch. You haven't been around long enough for that. Oh, Dan Stan, is it your birthday? Let me go grab my other, Yep, free 99 is too high. It's got to be free 88 at least. Oh. On Facebook, I had a whopping 6 people tell me hi or happy birthday yesterday, which is both more and less than I expected, and I'm happy it was that little because I respond to every comment when they say happy birthday, and it was 6. That could have been so much worse. You could. Nobody even tries to argue with me about price. They don't say, well, will you take this much? And apparently nobody ever thinks. You know, sometimes if you just ask, I'd give you like $5 off, but who asks for that? This isn't a store, just so we're clear. It's more like a pawn shop, but I don't buy shit from you guys. Oh, this one's mine. That one's not going to be purchased. Yeah, that one's mine though. Same with this bug out. That one's mine. Got this thing for $40 though. And I got this thing for 400. I'm not sure how I feel about S45VN yet. I never really got to test it very much. Well, yeah, spent $40 on this on an auction. And then this one right here I got off of Blade Binge. It had a drop point blade and it was sandblasted. And then Palmer, you could buy your first knife of the year from me. Oh, is Punisher talking about how he's old? Happy birthday, old man. God, his birth year starts with a 1. Couldn't imagine. This stuff, when I got it, was really, really hard. The edge of it was at least 67 HRC until I sharpened past the first edge. And it was able to cut glass. So I think that this thing's probably 64 or 65. This one's fun though. I'm happy I got it. Made on Halloween of 24. Or, yeah, 24. Who's the preacher talking to? I would pay to see a buck 110 at 80 HRC. Then yes, Cody, that is correct. That is about how hard that was. Well, considering the HRC scale ends at 70, I'm going to have to agree with you that 80 is a pretty funny joke. I carried this. And I carried, where'd my second knife go? Carried that one knife in, okay, practical testing for HRC ends at 70. Practical testing. And most of the materials that are harder than 75, I would assume, would crack or shatter if you tried to test them. Weird. What kind of carbide are you testing that gets to 80? Carried this, my wallet, watch, keys, i3 Olight, and that one knife, an M42. Shows you what I know. That's why I'm a YouTuber. This one's the other one that I carried. I still need to talk to that company about possibly using this stuff on a budget knife. Because I think that this could be the next budget super steel. Would probably surpass D2 by quite a bit. But it all depends on how expensive the heat treating is going to be for it. It takes a very specialized heat treat. It's M42 high-speed steel. It's used to replace carbide on drill bits and stuff. It's what drill bits are made out of. And it's a high, what's it called? Not high carbon, high cobalt steel. It's about 10%, 8 to 10% cobalt. Insane edge retention. It lasted just about as long as 15V did in my testing. Although the 15V had it was this versus that. This thing was $43 and had this edge retention, or almost. And I would assume this thing's around 65 HRC, because it wasn't hard enough to cut glass. But I want to do testing. I want to get some of this stuff on a budget knife and try and sell them for like 80. It's easily like double the edge retention of D2. I'm just worried about toughness. And it's not stainless, so it needs some sort of coating. Like this one has a tungsten nitride coating, but tungsten nitride has worn away the ball bearing in the detent, or the detent bearing. So it needs, one, a ceramic detent ball, two, a way to replace that. So possibly, because it is actually, once it wore down past, it's an interesting topic here. Once the detent ball wore down past the tungsten nitride coating, there are carbides that are exposed on the blade. So it's been eating that detent ball. It's now, let's see, a good quarter of the way gone. It's just flat now. So that's something that needs to be looked into. So I'm thinking, yeah, it is a huge problem. So my thought was have a ceramic detent ball, one of the silicon nitride or something, black ceramic detent balls, maybe even a white one. Well, who thinks about this? Who thinks about stuff like really high hardness steels when it's $43? You know, they're trying to sell them for $60. I got it on sale with a coupon code on top of that. The worst part is there's no way to replace that detent ball. You can see it in there. It's flat. But there's no way to replace it because there's no hole on this side to push it out. So that was a poor design, like that. But if I can get this company to work with me, I want a steel frame lock. And I know that sounds heavy, but I've seen it done before, light. This thing is not heavy. It just needs to be kind of thin. It's actually lighter than a Sebenza, and it's about the same size. But it's also thinner. So I'm thinking a stainless frame lock with a steel lock bar insert. And I know that sounds weird on a stainless knife, but for high hardness steels, the steel on the blade is going to wear away the lock bar. And that needs to be addressed early so that the knife lasts longer. If it does wear into the lock bar far enough, then you can just replace the lock bar. That's the whole point. I want this thing to last decades, if possible. DLC coating, again, if it's within the price point. I'll take a hit on my profits if it makes the knife better. That's another thing that I do that most companies won't do, is I'll take a hit on how much money I make on it, just so that you guys get a better product in the end. Bushcraft Rebooted and I were talking about this, along with me and a couple other companies, where yeah, but we're talking budget. We're not talking unless you guys think that low grade titanium's worth it. We're talking like grade 2. Well, I'm trying to figure all this shit out. So any input is great. I want these things to last as long as possible for the least amount of money possible. So do we think that low-grade titanium would be better than a stainless frame lock? Because if so, we might just go for that. Pens and Pen Blades, welcome back. How's it going? Okay. So let's start writing this shit down. God, I miss doing these. I haven't done a drawing of a design here in a while. So this would be the company's first model in titanium. If it does end up going somewhere. What grades are there in titanium? I'm assuming grade 5 is probably one of the top ones, so because I haven't done a whole lot of research in that department. Are you like a machinist or something? Watch this dude be like the guy that works at Millet that I was talking to the other day. That'd be hilarious. Maybe that's the dude I've been talking to on Reddit. Yeah, I'm not working with top grade. If we're going budget, we can't go with. We need to cheap out somewhere. And it sounds bad, but we have to. The heat treat on this stuff is insane. To heat treat this stuff to 65, you need to hold it at. First, you need to do an initial heat treat, which is 2200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the same as 15V, maybe a little bit lower. And then it needs to be tempered at 900 degrees Fahrenheit 3 times for 2 hours apiece. This stuff is not simple. But if you can get it done cheap enough and then coat it, because so here's the cool thing about this steel. It's meant for red hot working. It has a high hardness, high edge retention at red hot temperatures, which means it won't lose that heat treat when you put a coating on it. But it's low in chromium, so another interesting thing about this stuff, if I'm not mistaken, you can't normalize it because it's just not good for the steel. We're talking about M42 high speed steel. You can't normalize it, but I think you can there's something else you can do with it to soften it. And I think you can work it while it's soft. And then heat treat it. Not 100% sure on that. But they have to be able to do it at some sort of... How would you make profit at $43 if... You see where I'm going with this. If it's so expensive to heat treat it or to work it, you'd have to... The reason why I want M42 specifically, it's so dumb, but I just want it that way, is so you can order it from Carpenter and have it called Superstar. Because the Carpenter version of M42 is Superstar. It's a little bit lower in some of the materials that are in it, but it is a cool name to me. Let's look it up real quick. Superstar. Or we can go with micromelt instead. It's slightly lower in cobalt. But it has less impurities. Anyway, it's interesting stuff. Here in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to end the stream so I can go do something else. Something relaxing. So let's see. I want a 3 1/4 inch blade. This doesn't have a model. If you go on AliExpress and you look up M42 folding knife, it'll show up. At the moment, I think the one is $55. And then if you use a coupon on top of that, it's like an extra $6 off. So it'll be like $49 free shipping. There's another one. Be sure that you look in the description area because there's one of them that has a picture of this model, but they're selling something completely different. They claim it's at 67 HRC, and it's not. I'd be interested in seeing how hard that shit really is, because it lasted for a long time. I was really impressed. So let's see. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we want 3¼ inch blade. You know what? I think I know what I want to do. I want to work with them on a model that they already have that they're thinking about. And it's a button lock that they're making into a crossbar lock. No, I'm not working with them at all. I'd be working with a different company. A company that I actually have stuff that I'm working with at the moment. We're working on something. Okay, so that's the larger knife, the larger version of a knife that they already made. Except it sounds like they plan on making it in a crossbar lock instead. I told them I don't like crossbar locks because they have blade play issues. I think they decided to do it anyway. Anyway, so maybe we take this model and we turn it into a flipper frame lock. Where we already have everything else worked out. It's actually a pretty solid design. And this part was all part of the blade that made the button lock work the way that it did. And I'm pretty sure that this model would sell well. A few weeks ago. KC3, what's up? You're late. Shit, I didn't realize that was a couple weeks ago. Oh boy, does time fly. I think I want that plunge grind going further back. Yep, we'll see you later, pens and pen blades. You have a good one. I want that more like the Sebenza is, because I do really like that plunge grind on the Sebenza. Yeah, this is a different model. This isn't the one that I'm planning on dropping. This is something else. So if we have the plunge grind go back there, then what happens is all of this is easy to sharpen. That's going to be a bitch to grind, though. I kind of thought it was... Of course, hollow grind. I mean, we're going after this. Dominguez, how's it going? I mean, I'm not going through all this crap redesigning shit just for it to be a flat grind. I thought about having this redone by transparent knives, but decided that I'd rather keep the warranty. And if it gets reground, then I don't get the warranty anymore. Yeah. Yep. This might have to be redone, because it might have to go straight to right here or something, because having that kind of a turn doesn't make any sense. I don't know how you do that with a belt. It not gonna happen. So this is a hollow grind. Basically, let's say you got this. This is a round. It's how they do belts. And they wrap the belt around the round thing, and then they use this round thing to grind this. So it ends up being a round grind instead of using the flat part of the belt like they do on Spyderco, where this thing is just flat. And this one isn't flat. And you can see that, because it reflects light differently. It focuses it in one section. Yeah. Yep. Right behind the edge is nice and thin. And flat grinds are a little different. Can I not fail at this thing on camera? Yep, but you'd think that a flat grind would probably have better toughness. So I might have to do a flat grind on it, which I don't want to, but it's if it's this high speed steel that we're talking about, it might need that extra toughness. I used that on a plate last night. I need to fix what I screwed up at dinner. Got about 6 minutes until I end the stream. If I finish sharpening by then. Stever, what's up? How's it going? It's 14C. I carried this today in my right pocket and played with it a lot. And then I carried this in my left pocket. It can. I've had some 12C that was terrible. Like really, really high hardness stuff for no reason. I think I talked to you about that thing on Reddit. No, my sister just turned on the sink. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's in a box in a different room. But yeah, it is the single worst heat treat I've ever gotten on a knife. And that's why I will never buy Nitro V again. As far as I'm concerned, nobody has dialed that shit in. Hey, welcome back. I'd pick a Leatherman over a Swiss Army knife. This guy thinks I suck at sharpening. No, it's super disappointing because I know what happens. They mass produce these blades, and because the ovens that they use aren't perfect. I mean, of course they aren't, but they're bad, like really bad. Consistency wise. Some people get like the best heat treat ever, and then some people like me get really, really bad to the point where you're wondering if it was even heat treated at all. Which I did wonder that for a bit. I wasn't even sure if it did get a heat treat. Couldn't even finish a Little Caesars pizza box before it needed sharpened again. You know what's funny, Taylor? It was you that I was talking about talking to the other day on Reddit, because we had this same conversation over there, and we also had the same conversation with me being worried about sending my Sandrin over because I was worried the blade would snap. I'm still worried about that, by the way. I won't send that thing out. But I have it here. I sharpened it too. It's up for sale if you want it. It's not cheap though. It is a good question. It's not exactly a soft material. Paper towel. I'm worried about it, yeah. I don't want a chance of damaging one of my most expensive knives. Now, because everybody else tests them while they're sitting there on, like, they all do the whole swirly shit when it's still sitting there on the roll. And I don't do it on the roll. It'd be great if it would. I mean, if I go like they do when they pull it tight, it's fine. And it can probably do. Nope. Nope. Still sharp though. There's a burr. Barely. I hate it when it does that. I finished sharpening. and then I cut one paper towel with it, and then it has a burr. And then I have to do a burr removal. It's supposed to be like that. But then, like, paper gets stuck in the teeth, and then after that first cut, it's just never as sharp as it was. Which is fine. I mean, it's shaving sharp anyway. It's not like I'm worried about it. Now there's a bald spot on my arm again. No, I don't. I carry a phone to record. That's a joke. I should carry at least a tourniquet, but I don't. I've debated on getting some sort of pack to carry around, but can't exactly afford everything that I do now and that at the same time. I had to fix the had to tune this one too. When I first got it, I wasn't able to thumb flick it. And the thumb studs on this thing sucks. Like, they really do. They're like the Chris Reeve thumb studs, but worse. It's everything you hate about the Chris Reeve thumb studs. But they're smaller. So instead of being able to hit them from the side, you're stabbing yourself in the thumb every time that you hit it. Well, anything is better than nothing. I can't afford it anyway. I'm saving up for either a millet overland. I'm halfway there for that. Or a or saving up for the the 3D modeling of my design. One dude that I was watching a video and some dude explained that even just putting a credit card over a sucking chest wound or whatever they're called would help. Just holding a credit card over it, pressing it on, yeah, that would help. It would prevent air from filling the cavity. Or you can do like Kentucky Ballistics did and stick a thumb in it. For legal reasons, that's a joke. I'm not a medic. I don't have any medical training. Sure, it'd be great to let the air out, but it's not exactly easy to do that. It's easier to prevent more air from getting in. So yeah, if everything goes well, I might get, instead of dropping my model in MagnaCut like I planned, I might just drop it in Magnamax instead. Magnamax at 61 to 62. That'd be great. Well, like I said, Cody, I'm not a medic, and I have no medical training. Well, that worked well. Well, I don't carry anything, so I carry a knife. And as horrible as it sounds, if I have to use my knife as a self-defense tool, I'm probably not going to be worried about the other person. I'm going to be worried about myself. That's exactly why I want that stuff. Is I like edge retention, and I don't give a shit about almost anything else. So look at me going over the time that I wanted to again. Sit forward in the chair and maybe my back won't hurt. Warranty on life has expired. So Taylor here does hardness testing, HRC testing, as well as other hardness testing, I guess. Although I don't pay attention to any of the other numbers, because the other numbers don't matter to me. Like HRB and stuff like that doesn't matter to me. But yeah, he's over on Reddit doing stuff like that. I think he charges $10 per knife. Gotten some interesting results. And results that validate my personal beliefs that Nitro V is garbage. Because nobody can heat treat it consistently. See, the reason I say he in this situation I don't know for sure. However, the reason I say he is the vast majority of people that follow me are guys. I have about 6% that are women, and of course they follow me because of my amazing hands. But um the vast majority of the people that follow me are guys. So it's a pretty safe assumption that most of the people I'm talking to are guys. Although it does scare me the fact that I have 6% of my followers or the people that watch me that are women. That means I talk to women. Ugh. Yes, that's a joke. Heresy. This thing fits my hand really well. I thought about making a reblade for this. I need to tighten that a little bit. I'm definitely glad I got this thing put back together though. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was. I can finally open and close it fairly well. It was like, by the sounds of it, or by the looks of it, it's brand new. No. This one's a lot simpler than you'd think. The ones that aren't, from what I've heard, the Benchmade Infidel sucks. I mean, if you consider these hands extra small, I guess. In all seriousness, what do you mean by extra small beater? Do you mean like a super small knife or what? I got this one in 4V that I need to get rid of. It's a Kaiser Christmas edition. Bushcraft Rebooted has some interesting experience. Quote unquote, jumping out of perfectly good planes. Yeah, it's a mini sheepdog. I got small hands. It's not a full size. It's not an XL. It's not a Riot model, but Riot does make this model. If you want a real one, it's a Riot XO-U. It's their utility knife. And this one was from that company on Amazon, and I bought the last one. If you look up Riot XO on Amazon, you should find a few options though. Of course, I do recommend buying from Riot. However, these ones are extremely hard to get a hold of. Well, you see, I planned on joining the military, and I didn't because they didn't get through my paperwork in time, and I ran out of money. Then I had to go get a different job. Anyway, alcohol does nothing for me. I don't get drunk because even when I drink a ton, it doesn't do anything. So instead, I'm just sitting there wasting money. So even if I did join the military, it wouldn't have changed anything. What's alcohol going to do? I don't know. I thought 40% was pretty good. 45%. I don't remember. Yeah. No. Drugs are drugs are out of the question because I can afford knives. I cannot afford drugs, which I think is the better way of doing things. Yeah, but at least I have something to show for it. You do drugs and you have nothing to show for it. Ooh, look at me. I'm high for a few days. Ooh. You've got an orange XOU for sale. Are they able to be sold on Blade Binge? That is kind of the way that I look at things. I could spend money on expensive experiences, or I could have expensive products, and I can keep the products, and I'll forget the experiences because I don't remember shit. Yeah, if I'm broke, I can't sell the experiences. I'm still broke, and I can't even sell the knives anyway. It's hard to get rid of expensive stuff nowadays. Like, ooh, look at me. I've got an HK that was made by Benchmade back in 2009. Nobody wants it. Probably because it's half serrated, but oh, did you unbox Thor's toothpick? Or the Fenrir from Edgard? Well, I have two, I think three Grail knives that are up for sale. Uh, One of them I still need to reach out to a subscriber. There's somebody in my email list that said that they wanted this thing, and then I bought it, and then I don't remember who it was. But it's one of 250 Chavez Redemption 2 in 3V, made in the US. There's the small and cozy. that, you know, it's basically brand new after I brought it down to the shop and had them re-blast it. It's just hard to sell because it's a Tonto and nobody wants the Tonto apparently. Wish I would have known that before I bought it. It's a great knife. Box papers, everything. And then I've got a Koenig Arius. One of the first 20 made in-house. This was before they used DLC, before they did internal milling. The whole thing's solid titanium. S90V blade, made in 2016. It weighs about as much as a large Sebenza. Yeah, it's been abused. But it is one of the first 20 made in-house in Boise, Idaho. So, well, I had somebody that was interested in it. They just offered $425 and that was too low. On the NAF's Facebook group, I have it sitting there for $700, I think. However, no, I wouldn't. It sounds stupid when I put it this way. However, for subscribers, I'd take $650. You know, I do need to make a little bit of money, considering I've been sitting on it for months. Sucks that my buddy took so long to say that he wants to get rid of it. I went out, did all the work, got a COA for it. Are there any Discords that don't need to... how about no? I'll be honest, it's not my fault it cost that much. My buddy wants a certain number for it, right? Not gonna tell you guys that number, but he wants a certain number for it, and he won't take less. And then I would like to make some money on it instead of just he gets money for it and then I just don't. Especially with the fact that I'm the one that cleaned it, I'm the one that sharpened it, and I'm the one that went out and got the COA for it. So I'd like to have something to show for it. This thing's one of those ones that's really hard to sell too. Nobody wants a blunt tip Emerson. Nope. I just keep taking hit after hit though, dude. I'm starting to debate on whether I really want to be buying and selling knives anymore. Cuz it's getting to the point where I'm not making almost anything on these. This one's, I think, priced lower than any one that I've ever seen. I beat eBay prices by like $50 on this. Yeah, I'm on Blade Binge with this thing already. And yeah, I know it's the name of the game. It's kind of just how it is. Like the bug outs I have for just over $100 a piece. Anyway, it is what it is. I've got like 2,000 something in inventory that I need to get rid of. I need to finish sharpening this one because there's somebody that in the comment section from a bit ago that wanted one of these. I managed to get a new spring for it. These things are expensive. If you look at this one, I know it isn't brand new. Just bear with me. These things, brand new on Arizona Custom, are selling for like $400. It's another one of those things where I'll beat everybody's prices and nobody buys them anyway. I think it's a little smaller than a 4 Max. That is not going to happen. A 4 Max wouldn't be bad. I think the 5 Max is way too big. But I've also learned to like the knives that are up to a 4-inch blade. Like a large Sebenza is actually pretty comfortable now. This thing I'd be fine carrying if it wasn't so damn heavy. Because it's not a titanium frame lock, it's a stainless frame lock. Yeah, I've got some precious metals. Stock market, I can't mess with. I'll stay away from Buttcoin, don't worry. I've got 52 pounds of lead if somebody wants to buy it from me. I'll send it to you in a flat rate box. Make the postal worker work for it. No, it's one single 52-pound lead ingot. I'm not even kidding. It's like slightly larger than a brick. No. It's like 50% larger than a brick. This thing's fun. Yeah, it's sitting in the back of my truck right now because I didn't feel like putting it back in my garage. You know, sometimes I just don't want to carry 52 pounds from the back of my truck to the garage. So it's been sitting in the back of my truck for a couple weeks. Probably, Cody. I won't test that for you, no. It's 5,000 an ounce right now. Unless it went up $400 earlier today. Lead sugar crystals are supposed to be sweet. Yeah, so right around 5,000. Oh yeah, no. Silver was up to 130 back when it peaked. And then it dropped back down to right now it's about 70 something. I wish I would have sold my platinum while it was at its peak. It was about $90 a gram at its peak. 80 to 90. And I bought that thing for 45 bucks. I think lead is about $3 a pound and copper is about 4 or something. Well, you get what I'm saying. It topped up above 100. Nope, I just have a gram of platinum. Literally just a gram of pure platinum. Because I bought it under spot. I almost wish that I would have, but I don't know. It almost looks like silver has stabilized at around 75. It was doing the same thing at 35 when it was going up to 40, back down to 35, up to 40, back down to 35. It's kind of doing that now at 70 and 75. And yeah, the none of the refineries are buying silver right now. They have too much on hand and they can't melt it all. I'd like to get some indium. That stuff seems fun to play with. I'm sure you do. I have less than a gram of gold. I bought a third of a gram, and I bought a quarter of a gram back when it was about 90 a gram. And I don't know what it's at right now. Here in about 6.5 minutes, I'm probably going to end the stream. I know I said that earlier, but I would like to go and relax. Yeah, I'm not doing bad on my investment there. My silver investment is doing pretty good, though. I think I bought 7 ounces when it was $30. 6 minutes. Nope. Other than in Facebook groups and maybe, I don't know if you're allowed to sell them in Knife Swap, but I don't mess with Knife Swap, so I started buying silver when I was like 18, and then I sold it, and then I bought it back when it was at 30 an ounce, and I held on to it. I had a lot of people in this stream tonight. Not a whole bunch all at once, but pretty good chunk of people there. Really makes me miss the old days, back before I tried to get monetized. I'm still mad about that. The day I got monetized and I lost everything. I'd be at 5K. I'd probably be at around 10K. Well, I've told the story before, but I might as well tell it again. I was on track last year to hit 5K by the end of the year. I got monetized in October, and the day that I got monetized, my viewer count dropped by about 80%, and it hasn't recovered since. So I was getting 100 subscribers every 5 days, and it was just steadily going up and up and up. And I decided, some people wanted to donate money to the channel, and I told them I'd rather you just buy a knife, but somebody told me sometimes I just want to donate like $1 or $2 instead of spending like $30 or $40 on a knife. I'm like, well, that makes sense. We'll go ahead and try it. And I regret trying it very much. Well, those days leading up to getting monetized, I was 80 people. I peaked at like 80 people a day for weeks. But yeah, the moment that I got monetized, everything changed. I lost everything. I lost, not only did I lose all that momentum that I had going up to 3K. I didn't even hit 3K, I don't think, until this year when I was on track to hit 5. But so I lost all of the momentum. A decent chunk of the people that used to follow me stopped getting notifications. And yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Well, you'd think with all that momentum, they'd want to prop me up a little bit more, but they just want to keep their cut, I guess. That's the only way that I can think of it. They were putting ads on my shit without me knowing, and making money doing it. And then the moment that it was time for me to get a share, they decided, well, nope, we're not doing that. So I've decided. What happened was the reason I'm demonetized now is I forgot to give them my tax info. And now that I'm demonetized, I'm slowly starting to recover again. Well, that's the thing. I was working for it. I was live streaming for 4 to 5 hours every day. I spent more time doing that than actual work. Anyway, that's just how that went down. I'm not sure if the channel will ever recover to how it was, but we hit 3K. Not much more I can ask for nowadays. Got a few people who are interested in buying some of the shit that I come out with here in the future. I know the stuff's going to be expensive, but I should be beating everybody else's prices by about $100 for American-made knives. So everything I can do to be the best. $3,050. I hate it when that happens. There's another guy on Reddit that I was talking to that said that happened to them too. They got monetized and they lost like 70% of their viewers. Well, I'm planning on my stuff being... So here's what I want. I want to have Sebenza tolerances with the same materials and Magnamax for 400. That's the plan. Profit margins are low. I'm not making a ton of money on those, which means that they will not be going on sale. I don't have any sales. It's just, that's the price, which beats everybody else in the American market. It beats Chris Reeve. It beats Koenig. It beats Hawk. It beats just about everybody else I can think of. That would be on my products, or on my, yeah. That is the plan, if I can make it work. prototyping costs are coming out of my pocket. I'm not including that in the prices for I think it's them worried about profits more than I think that they have lost sight of the fact that people still need to buy their stuff for them to make money. So, when you forget that, there's also another way of looking at it. If you raise your prices and there are less people buying them, well, here's the thing. If things work out, they'll be coming out next year. It won't even be this year. It may be December if I'm lucky. Jackson, what's up? But like I was saying, look at it this way. And this is a horrible way of looking at it, but this is probably how they're looking at it. Benchmade, I'm talking about you. If you can sell less knives for more money, you're making better margins, but you're selling less of them. Less strain on workers, just less of everything else except for you're making more money or the same amount of money. But eventually you're going to reach the price where everybody's going to say that's too much. And then you're done. If I'm lucky, I'll have a model dropped in December. Me and Knives, I guess, might have one out by April or May. Made in China. And that will help with going towards paying for the new models. Nope, prototyping hasn't happened yet because I still need to have the 3D model redone, cleaner. And I need licensing. Well, I thought about it, like Kickstarter. I thought about it, and I might do it. The problem with Kickstarter is, and I've talked about this before, the first problem is you're not paying up front. You're paying, when at the end of the Kickstarter, which I think they only last a month. If it doesn't work, I can try again. If it does work, great. So then we have the next problem. The Griptilian's still under 200. Then we have the next problem of production. Production takes time. The company I've been talking about working with, they said the earliest we could get me in for having 100 models made would be 6 months from now. And the latest would be a year, which means production wouldn't even start for like 6 months, minimum 6 months after the Kickstarter happened. So you'd be sitting there without a product for 6 months. So that sounds pretty bad. Speaking of Benchmade, I have a couple Benchmades that I need them sent back. I gotta go check my email for those. See if they need any money for me to have them worked on, which would suck. Anyway, 6 months minimum where you guys are sitting there with your pre-order, but I'm not sending it until like 6 months later. Or sorry, Carpenter sent me an email. I was curious about one of their steels, so I asked a question. Well, that's great, but this is a new company, like brand new. So sorry, I was getting off track. Yeah, true. There's a couple ways of doing it, and I had a cool idea, but it's going to cost me even more money. But you guys get a really cool certificate of authenticity out of it. I've kind of wanted to try out one of Spyderco's kitchen knives, but kitchen knives aren't really my thing. But I do find it interesting that they still have the hole. Where is I going with this? There was a way I wanted to lead this. Minimum order from this company is 100 pieces. But they'll let me do 2 batches of 50. A batch of 50 is going to cost me about 10,000. It's an Emerson Sark with a blunt tip search and rescue knife. Titanium liners with a little bit of lock stick because it's titanium on steel. 154 cm, obviously. And the prototyping, if I want 4 prototypes made, is going to be 5,000. So I'll be 15,000 in if I did it myself. And if I went with the pre-order way, then I'm paying for the prototyping out of pocket. And then everything else would be paid for with the pre-order money. I'm trying to get rid of this one. I haven't found anybody that wants it yet. It's hard to find somebody that wants one with a blunt tip, but it's made for cutting clothing off of a, it's a search and rescue knife. It's not made for hurting things. I think it's priced well. I think I have it priced at like 160. If not, I'd take 160 for it. It's another one of those that I almost regret buying. It's a chisel grind, so it's only ground on one side and it's flat on the other. So it's ground like this, and then this side's just flat. Well, I thought it was a really good price, but it seems like everybody or nobody wants it, so which it happens. I'm sure somebody will buy it. I know it's a good price. What's it on Blade Binge for? Listings. I just want somebody to buy it soon because I have like way too much inventory right now. It's to the point where I shouldn't be buying anything else. Well, what ones were you deciding to sell? I'm assuming one of them was a Talos. I've got one of those. Believe me, those aren't easy to move. I've got a mini sheepdog in 4V that I'm trying to get rid of. Doesn't have a pocket clip though, and the pocket clip, if you reach out to them, they want 20 bucks for it. Oh yeah, trying to sell them all at once is not going to be easy. I have it priced at 163 on Blade Binge. And I have this one priced for 850, but I would take 650 for it. Those are the only two that I have on Blade Binge right now. The rest are for sale on the NAF's Facebook group. All my prices include shipping in the US. Yeah, it's really hard to sell knives as a bundle. Got a PM2 and Maximate that I need to get rid of. That's one of the more expensive ones. The Koenig is pretty expensive. Three bug outs. A Benchmade Arcane. The PM2 is priced at $240. There's a little wiggle room on that. I do need to warn you that it does have some cosmetic issues. The blade was misground. So instead of being perfectly centered or damn near like this one is, it's sitting off to one side because they ground it like shit. But it's not touching anything. It's a good deal, I think, considering brand new ones are $280 plus plus tax. How much is that thing? Sounds like it's an ugly knife. Is it an ugly knife? The Horkos. Wish I could get bigger magnets for this. Well, it sounds like an ugly knife, so I'm going to look at it real quick. Oh, if it's a fixed blade, I'm not interested. Fixed blades just aren't my thing. I don't have a way to carry a fixed blade. Tighten you up a little bit. Yeah, that makes more sense. Well, you should ask, well, better question. Can you afford one? A harpoon, you can have a harpoon drop point. The harpoon is basically this section right here, where it goes a little swoop and then it goes normal. It's called a harpooned drop point or a harpoon drop point. But yeah, you can have both. I have like 3 fixed blades. This thing's kind of fun to take apart. I just wish that the tolerances were a little bit tighter. I wouldn't mind having a hinderer. Yeah, the tolerances on this thing aren't super tight. It saddens me knowing that. Do you just really like their knives, or are you paid by them? Because you shout them out a lot. I'm just genuinely wondering. You talk about them all the time. Either you really like their stuff, or they're giving you a little incentive. He knows the owner? Yeah, I didn't know that. There's a Spyderco Harpy at my local pawn shop. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I bought it to resell it, although it doesn't come with any box or papers. This is the worst part of messing with knives like this. Well, See, I don't mind if they send me free shit, but I don't want any money for it. Therein lies another problem, is one of the models that I'm working on with the company, I'll be getting paid for it, which means I have a bias towards it. Or it could mean I have a bias towards it. You know? So and it's not that I'm getting paid for reviewing the knife. It's the fact that I'm related to designing the knife, which means I will be getting kickbacks for every knife sold as royalties. So I don't want it looking like I'm supporting the knife just because I'm getting money for it. If I don't like the knife, I don't like the knife. If I like the knife, I like the knife. That's just how it is. And I wouldn't want to be involved in something that I wouldn't like. I guess this thing doesn't get any tighter than that. So I need an answer from you guys. If I am going to be getting royalties for a knife, should I review it anyway? And of course, since I'll be reviewing a prototype, I'll be needing, or I'll be giving feedback on it for things that I think need worked on. Something that I'm very, very adamant about that they probably don't know about yet. I want the backspacers to be the perfect thickness. And it's not going to make a whole lot of sense until after I explain it. This thing's smooth. I made sure it was smooth because I thinned the backspacer so that it's the same thickness back here as it is up here. There is zero blade play at all. None. Absolutely none. That needs to be dialed in perfectly. Now, something that I've brought up before that doesn't really get mentioned a whole lot, the model that we're working on comes with a set of washers and a set of bearings. You can choose between the two. You could have it on bearings if you wanted to, but you could also have it on washers, because I know some people do some harder work. Some people get dirty. Bearings are not for dirty knives. It's the only knife that I know of on the market that has an option. If you go on AliExpress and you look up M42 folding knife, it shows up. This one's on skiffs. It's a good knife. I've been very impressed with it for the price. But this other knife that I'm talking about, which I can show you guys, um, prototyping is said to start on the 26th, where we will have either 18 or 20 made. And if everything goes well, then move either to Kickstarter or straight to selling them on Amazon. And here's roughly what it looks like. Pretty simple. And it's a flat grind. I did a lot of I 3D modeled the whole thing based on a picture that was drawn by Knives, I guess. No, this one's going to be G10 scales and 10 CR blade. The design that I'm working on solo, nobody knows what it looks like yet. I haven't shown any of you guys. Uh, 10 CR was Knives, I guess, decision. That wasn't my choice. I personally would have gone with a different steel. However, he likes that stuff, so. And it is his design, it's not mine. The only reason I'm getting money for it is I did all the 3D model work. I wonder how hard it is to undo those. Are they T6 or are they T8? T8. I see. What specifically do you have a hard time with? God damn. Why did I go so far over? Oh yeah, no, I'm ending the stream like really soon. I don't want to keep sitting here. My back's already hurting. It sucks because I just left the chiropractor today. Yeah, pardon me for always lying about when I'm ending the stream. At least I end it late instead of early. There we go. I think it's better that I end it late. At least for the subscribers' perspective. Well, not only that, but they get more content. Even though I want to go to bed sometime. But instead, I choose to sit here and hang out with you guys. Greg, what's up? Well, what are all the changes that you've made to trying to sharpen? Because if what you're doing isn't working, then you obviously need to change something. But now we run the question of what all have you changed? So what all have you changed? Well, Josh is talking about how he can't sharpen VG10. I think it depends on the heat treat. Heavily. I can't say I've ever had any issues with VG10 either, but I'm sure sometimes it's heat treated weird. Well, we don't know yet. Everything is very dependent on heat treat. I'll agree with that. 5 minutes. That's it. I want to sleep. And by sleep, I mean I want to go do something else. No, I just want to stop making YouTube content for the night and go watch YouTube content for the rest of the night. Gonzo, what's up? You're late. You're like 3.5 hours late. Yeah, I'm still alive, even though I planned on ending the stream over an hour ago. But I just said a little bit ago, 5 minutes. So hopefully I won't be lying this time. Well, that's not good. Sounds like YouTube hates me. Did my local YouTuber die? We'll see you later, KC3. You have a good one. Bayonet. It's not for sale or trade. Nope. It's one of my subscribers' knives. Well, it sounds like he's having issues with the large knife with a Spyderco Endura. So I'll admit I've had a little bit of issues with sharpening my Delica. It took a little bit of time to get it just right, but you need a lot of practice to sharpen these ones. I got to hold a PM2 lightweight today. It sounds like your knife might need a full professional reprofile, which would suck to pay for, but you know. It probably needs done on stones. 30 seconds. Well, I'm going to finish talking to Josh and then we're going to end the stream. So, and I might keep my Delica, to be honest. I want to try it with aftermarket scales before I sell it. I just hate these scales. So yeah, Josh, it sounds like that, well, Cody, you need to remember that people need practice too. It's not like I got as good as I did by just buying the stones, the halfway decent stones. Lots and lots of practice and a lot of fails. Sure, but you don't want to practice on an Endura. You want to practice on something that you don't mind ruining. Because I practice on a knife. I practiced on a knife and failed miserably by dropping it, and it just mangled one side of it. I have no clue how to pronounce that, but I'm going to say Diane. How's it going? I'm trying to wait for one more response from Josh before I end the stream. There we go. You got it back from Spyderco and it was still dull? Well, that doesn't sound right. Spyderco actually leaves some decent edges. I wonder what caused that. Almost tempted to say send it to me, but I don't sharpen things for free. Yeah, that didn't sound right to me either. Very, very unusual. Pardon us, guys. There's somebody in the other room whose fingers we needed to break. Maybe next time they'll pay the debt. Tell my sister to keep it down. There we go. Well, I'd bring it back and ask them to sharpen it again. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there, because I'd like to go sit in a chair that's actually comfortable instead of this chair. So, to those of you who are still sticking around, hopefully you have a great rest of your night, day, morning, whatever it is. And see you in the next one.